Welcome back. We're watching one more episode of Higurashi, and it turns out to be the last one in this season, which could only mean one of two things. Either they fail horribly again and everyone gets devastated, or somehow they overturn fate itself, fix the fate of the village, and manage to actually move on to the next day. There's only a few ways to find out, one of which being sitting down and watching the episode, so I don't want to hold you back for too long, because this one should be interesting. We saw them running about the forest, building traps, doing some guerrilla warfare, taking out a few of the task force successfully. But is it going to be enough? And how deranged is Takano going to be by the end of it? Let's hope everyone's safe. So grab a drink, and let's begin. I have been really looking forward to this day. Seeing the culmination of all of their efforts, being able to try and fix this timeline, having it also play up from the work that she laid out before. Telling the police guy about his wife so he goes back so she doesn't fall to fate as well. Setting it up so Keiichi and whatnot actually come to the village. Seeing all of that prior work actually come together. And if this is the final hurrah of this time, they actually make it to the next day, continue on with summer. Are we going to get a vision of the future like what we got before? An adult Renner and whatnot, but this time the rest of them without the tragedy of the village. Oh yeah, they were going to get blown up, weren't they? A non-lethal shot. A pretty... Were they using rubber bullets? Ah. That would do it. You'd expect them to at least still be dented slightly, though, even if with a bulletproof car. So they have no time. They need to move in immediately. Secure the area. And how much sway does he actually have to be able to tell them and they actually make a move on it? Good question. Then the bunkum themselves are... Oh. Okay. They don't need to keep anything all, secretive under the rug and that, and just go in. Clean house. So he wants to play his part. And after everything that she managed to do for him, try to repay that grace. Is it something to do with Takano herself, considering how close they were before this? He can't keep up. Was there any need for them to charge into the mountain like this in the first place? Whatever thought that she was in charge in the first place? Thanks. And now what? Meeting on a level of equals when it comes to this battle. Or trying to pull one last fast one. Does she want to go into that kind of line of work? That might only last a few years, though. Magician of words. Some of them get a bit more of a respectable name than others. Do they choose their own club name there? Was it on a vote basis? He's getting tired of her. They arrived just in time. Oh, since he's now been given a order from higher up. Yeah, he is just, alright, turn tail, time to go. I mean, swift. That abseiling from the helicopter. He made it back quick. To think that after everything that she has been through, multiple years trapped in this repeating hell, what are the ones that are still down in the hole? Let's not talk about that one. Not yet, at least. Oh yeah, now that this world is saved, does Hanyu need to have a place here? Does she go back to being just a spirit of the village? He knows when he's been beat, what's unnecessary. The lighter symbol of being completely empty as well, just like his spirit, his will to fight. And their chances of victory. One last transmission. Clean up, you say. Loose ends, they need to be snipped. No need for them to lose all their lives unnecessarily. Yeah, but now that it's out in the open, they know about it all. And she's lost her task force. I mean, she is now disposable. It is all a means to an end. It's just a battle of power and she was caught in the middle of it. To be the scapegoat of it all. The fool guy. That's a gun, love. I mean, put it in short and simple terms, why don't you? A captain goes down with the ship. She will shoulder all of the responsibility and burden. Is she prepared for that, though? Letting go of the research, her grandfather's legacy? Also, in her current state, even if it was as a, do your part here, would you trust to give her a loaded firearm? Take away her last lifeline. A slight smoke line coming out of the barrel there. He's got a kind heart. Of course, letting her go is not going to cause any troubles going forward, but also completely breaking her so thoroughly there. Having her lose all hope for the future and the research. Everything she was working for being moot. Returning to the years she was running through the forest before, away from the orphanage. Is God gonna strike her down this time? Then you might want to stop scratching. Ah! The vengeance of a actual deity. That's what it all stemmed from. She latched onto it so much. I mean, she had Tomataki, didn't she? He acknowledged her for a while before she turned on him. Ambition is one hell of a drug. Can she be forgiven for her actions? That is a very intense face that Hanyu has there. Uh-huh. Still acting like she's in charge. Do you think that she's actually got anything that's loaded? I mean, she has nowhere else to turn. All line up neatly in a line, please. Lucky dip. Maybe they'll be okay with that. I do like that this is going on in a torrential downpour. I mean, she's near enough dead anyway, isn't she? I mean, unlike Takano, who has ran away from her responsibilities, Mion taking on the leader role properly, even at the face of a barrel like that. Yeah, don't accept wrongdoings and responsibility. Lash out like a cornered rat. And she has much more of a role to play in this. The change in tone. But what... accepting their roles in this and they're saying their goodbyes. And she came into this story from just being on the sidelines. Oh. Huh. Yeah. She really needs to work on that marksmanship. Ah, they're playing by a different game. It was rigged from the start. And Hanyu was that card? The missing piece to this riddle. Well, apart from, Takano, who's been going through this world, wasting her entire life, apart from Sadako's brother, who's in a vegetative state, apart from everyone that died in the purpose of her research, they're still losers, you would say. You might want to give her some mittens. Or at least cut her nails. Are they going to show it a bit of respect and pick it up out of the mud? Does he supersede them? She's in the very throes of what she was researching. Oh, I don't want to touch that. Make sure they've got some sanitizer. Wash their hands. But the very person she was willing to throw away for her goals, coming back to rescue her, give her that bit of solace. Can we actually enjoy it this time? Yeah, the force exerted on it from the mass of the cork isn't really good enough to knock it down. I know it was kind of... can't remember if it was hinted at or shown to begin with, but finishing it with her routine, the symbolic dance of the festival, the spreading of the cotton. Yep. Welcome back. A new dawn breaks. Look at the calendar. First time she's seen that. Who would have thought that they would be relieved beyond words to get scolded first thing in the morning? Is that meant to be a really old Rika? Okay. Making that decision kind of fast. Is this somehow changing the course of history itself? Somehow this version of Rika... I'm guessing that's meant to be Takano. Being as mysterious as ever. Everything will be fine. So, well, there's the bus. I think it's going to change for the better, and she can, be acknowledged, have a life where things don't go wrong. Or the heart attack still happens. Or cleaning house. No, okay, so they didn't die in a bus crash. She actually got another flag for the collection so can carry on her life. Yeah. Saving the time before it began. And so, managing to finish that, continue on to the festival, enjoy their new world that is now opened up to them. And with very little losers in terms of people who actually suffered and whatnot because of all of the actions in the village. For then an adult version of what I assume to be an adult version of Rika going back and stopping Miyako, Takano's parents from dying, therefore changing the course of history itself, and therefore all of the events in the village and the symptoms and everything else just never existed. Well, they still existed because they still cropped up during the war, just they were never pushed upon, never experimented. Not an ending I expected to see, and kind of one that is just a little confusing. Sure, we had lots of time shenanigans going back and repeating the summer and over again. Is it because Hanyu now being part of it and making it past that day, some spiritual powers allowing her to move back in time? Is there a new issue on the horizon that she's just been going around trying to solve all of the problems? It's like, well, how far back do I need to go? And Akasaka being a run through from the beginning, the first interaction that she had and put her on the path to this level of success. I'm glad he was there at the end as well. And I forget the story. Did her parents die from the bus crash because they were driving in the car that it hit? And therefore the change now of her being with them means they got on the bus instead and therefore weren't on the receiving end. If that's the case, have we just opened up a new story with whoever's the contents of that car? This story in its way of telling itself, the multiple retellings of the same event and how it transpired, just with small iterations and how that really affects things going down the line. And to think it all started from that first scene with the baseball bat. Who would have thought that we could have countrywide intrigue, experiments on human lives themselves, and deities? Yeah, I really don't think there's going to be another show that is similar to Higurashi. For better or worse. Seeing all of them come out the other side and just enjoying the festival. We got small bits and pieces of it a long time ago, seeing the cotton drifting, and now having that for us again and its meaning, not only for the village and its traditions, but them and their story. A nice way to cap that off. I really do wonder about next season and what's gonna happen. And if you're with me on that line of thinking, let me know. I've enjoyed this so far. This season has been one hell of a ride. The first one being a small collection of stories and how they all linked all together. This one being a full thoroughfare of the events. I liked its change of pace. It did throw me off at the beginning, but it really worked. And I come to understand a few of the characters a little bit more. If you enjoyed it, let me know. If I entertained you in any sort of way, consider leaving a like on the video, maybe even subscribing to the channel. But most importantly, come back for more. Get some rest, because I really hope to see you for the next one. Get some rest, because I really hope to see you again for the next one.